Greetings. My name is Chris the Cancer, and no, I don't have cancer. I was just born in July. Today I'm back with a video for you guys. This one's going to be a little different. Hopefully this helps some of you guys out. If you have any questions, just leave a comment or message me or something. I have some notes here, so I may look down occasionally and just glance at my notes. But without further ado, let's get it started. So what I'm going to speak about may help some of you with a lot of the issues you may be having in life. If some of you are having like some existential issues as well, things like that, what I'm about to explain to you may help you resolve some of those things, or it may be the first step to you resolving those things. So, first of all, for almost all of human history, reality was very simple. Okay? There was the world around us, and then there was the world inside of us, right? The physical world consists of people, places, actions, consequences, right? It was a reality that we could touch, see, hear. We directly had those experiences. We directly shared those experiences with other conscious beings, conscious minds, right? Now, alongside our physical reality, we have that internal world, right? Our inner conscious, the subconscious, right? You have your conscious world and then the subconscious world, right? So that's our thoughts, our fears, dreams, imaginations, memories, just your subconscious mind, the little voice that's in your head that no one else can hear but you. So that's your inner world. So for all of existence before recent human advances, I'm talking about recent as in the last 100 years, there has only been two realities. Two realities, right? The subconscious, conscious, the physical, non physical, right? Now, a lot of our thoughts remain private, emotions were very temporary, right? A lot of impulses faded before they became actions. Human consciousness operated behind a filter, and our minds generated many possibilities, but reality only received a very small percentage of those possibilities. Very, very, very small percentage of those possibilities, right? And as humanity does, we have created something that inherently disturbs the natural balance of the consciousness. We have created a third consciousness, a third reality, and we call it the internet, or more specifically, social media. Okay? This reality is built on information, it's made of attention. It's a reality that's inhabited by billions of people on this planet. Almost every human on the planet, aside from most babies and children, are actively and consciously participating, right, in this new reality we've created. Now, a lot of people view the internet and social media as a communication tool, all right, but this actually represents one of the most profound advancements in human history, probably as profound since language and writing itself was created. I don't think a lot of people realize that we as humans have created a new reality for our conscious minds to participate in, right? We describe social media as like a platform, website, apps, but at this point, it has far outgrown those labels, right? Far outgrown those labels. Those labels are, to simply put it, just too simplistic for social media and what it represents now. So it functions more like an alternate environment. We enter it daily, we socialize there, we build identities there, we form communities there. We have emotional highs, emotional lows, we fight wars there, we fall in love there, we build careers there, we lose careers there, right? Like entire portions of our human lives or the human experience is now occurring within a digital space. Okay? This has never happened before throughout all of existence and history. This has never been a thing. So, What makes this very unique is that, where we have barriers in our physical reality, like, for example, our physical reality is limited by time, distance, energy, social consequences, so on and so forth. There's a bunch of limits that we have, like in physical reality. But on the internet, those limitations are drastically reduced to almost where there's like barely any barriers. There's almost no barriers, right? One thought can reach hundreds of thousands of people in seconds, right? Your opinion can go viral globally overnight and be seen by millions of people. This has never been happened. This has never happened before. This has never been a thing before. Information has never been able to travel this fast at this capacity ever in human history, in Homo sapien history. This has never happened. Okay? So this is the first time that billions of conscious minds are connected in a physically measurable way, right? We can measure the connectivity through the internet, through social media. You know what I mean? It's never been happened before. It's never happened before. I don't know why I keep saying it's never been happened before. It's never happened before, okay? The only way this could have happened in the past is if we all had telepathy, right? That's the only way that all of our consciousnesses could have connected in the past. And, as far as I know, that's never been a thing. There may be some conspiracy theorists that think that at one point all of humanity could use telepathy or some shit, but I don't believe that. Imagine all of your private thoughts, your fears, your insecurities, political beliefs, frustrations, emotional reactions. They're constantly being projected into this shared space. And this is the environment that modern humans inhabit now. Like, we contribute part of our conscious mind into this pool of projection. Okay? This third reality, it's not just a reflection of humanity, it's a giant projection of our consciousness. Like, we're projecting into it. Where there's AI now that's like creating things the way we like, just, you know what I mean? You ever have those crazy images or something in your mind, just things that are just physically not possible, and now we can project those things on the internet with AI, right? We spend hours every single day inside of social media, majority of us. Historically, there was a delay between thought and action, where, for example, if a person became angry, right, they would be angry, cool down, they'd reflect and think about it, they reconsider, and then for most people, a lot of thoughts died before they could become actions, before they could reach the physical reality. They died in the non physical. Now, a lot of these thoughts, they just instantly go out, right? That delay that served that important purpose of protecting the individual and society from emotional impulsiveness is gone, right? Social media has dramatically shortened that delay between thought and action. Now you can make a public statement within seconds, right? And there's tons of people that will consciously acknowledge that statement, and now it's out there, right? In a moment of jealousy, you make a post. Now there's a bunch of people that will see that and consciously acknowledge it, and now it's out there, right? You get angry and you argue with someone in the comments. Now there's a bunch of people there either siding with you or going against you, and they're also arguing in the comments, right? Insecurity itself becomes an argument. The temporary feelings, they become permanent with the internet. The way you felt in the moment, you could make a video and post it online, and now it's there forever. You can never take it back. A thought, a feeling that was never supposed to escape. You let it escape, and now it's there forever, projected into this digital space. Okay? Humanity is, we're increasingly exposed to raw psychological material that our parents, grandparents, every generation before them has never experienced before, right? Modern humans were the first to experience this type of psychological raw material, but also psychological trauma that's constantly being absorbed and projected to us. We're no longer experiencing through each other's actions. Like, we're experiencing people's unfiltered thoughts that were never supposed to leave their mind, right? We're seeing the intrusive thoughts that are supposed to stay in your brain and they're not supposed to escape, right? And we're not understanding this. We're not recognizing this and acknowledging this as a whole, as a collective. And by not doing that, we're enabling people to do it more, and it creates more divide, it creates more issues, more resentment, more, people arguing over nonsense on the internet, right? The human mind was never designed to process this amount of psychological information at this capacity this often. It's every single day. We're absorbing thousands of emotional signals. We're making thousands of judgments. We're making thousands of comparisons, and we're experiencing mental overload. A lot of you that are feeling like, you know, you're in an existential crisis, or, you know, people have changed and people are different now. That's not the case. People haven't changed. Our environment changed, right? And with that environment changing, we're just not understanding the change as a collective. So a lot of things are slipping through the cracks without filters, and it's now deeply affecting us internally and externally. In previous eras, survival for the average human, it was depending on physical resources: food, water, shelter, land, you know what I mean? Making fire, just basic things that you need to survive, right? Now, the most valuable resource that you can have as a human being is attention. Think about it. Attention now is more valuable than the essentials that your physical existence requires to survive. The attention that you gain now can outlive your physical existence. Isn't that crazy? Is that not crazy to you guys? Like, every social media platform is competing for your attention. Every notification you receive requires your attention. Every algorithm that we use is designed to capture our attention, right? And anything that repeatedly enters the conscious mind begins to shape the reality, right? So the problem is that our attention has evolved to prioritize danger. And because of that, we tend to absorb negative content more frequently than we absorb positive content. And it just contributes to that, those negative psychological tendencies, negative perspectives, or not even perspectives, perceptions. Because what happens is, most of the time that we're receiving information on the internet, it's not that the information is always false. It's just that it's usually incomplete at the point that we're receiving information. We don't have all of the facts. So we form a perception around this lack of facts and evidence, right? Or factual evidence. And then when we do that, it takes away from us gaining perspective, because we fully believe in that perception. And then when the full truth comes out, now we've gained perspective. We understand we were wrong, right? It's important to learn the difference between perception and perspective because it could really save your life in a lot of situations. Your perception is often wrong, and your perspective is what you gain when you have all of the facts and can form a complete understanding of whatever it is that you're trying to perceive. If that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, let me know in the comments, and then I don't know, I'll make another video explaining the difference between perception and perspective. But yeah, the negative the negative information, we're absorbing that more because again, we have that instinct to prioritize danger over everything else. And because of that, we're absorbing the negative stuff way more frequently. And over time, the way we perceive the world is in a way that it's not, you know, actually is. Wait, what? The way we perceive the world over time is not as it actually is. That's what I'm trying to say, right? We don't perceive the world through what we're actually seeing. We're perceiving the world through a digital lens, which is like a constant digital simulation. And reality becomes distorted. And it's, again, it's not because information is always false. It's just that it's usually incomplete and we're not forming complete perspectives. We just have all these different perceptions. And most of these perceptions are like emotionally driven too. They're just not reliable. So we're increasingly experiencing the world through selected moments rather than direct experiences. Like we're chasing headlines rather than just observation, right? We're looking at the world through feeds rather than actually participating and experiencing. So, one of the most significant consequences of social media, which is this third reality that we have now created, is that it's gradually replacing the lived experience, right? Experiences used to exist for their own sake. Like if you're a little older, you often heard people say, you know, they're just experiencing something just to experience it. They're doing it just for the experience, right? It's different now. You know, people travel, they attend events, they, you know, share meals and go to restaurants and stuff like that because they're unconsciously evaluating these experiences based on their potential digital value. You know, most people now when they're going out and they're trying to have experiences, they're thinking like, is this gonna give me good photos, good video? How many likes is this gonna give me? Should I post this? You know what I mean? Like stuff like that in that realm. And they're not focused on actually experiencing. Experience becomes secondary, and then the documentation of the experience becomes primary. And it's backwards. We like flipped ourselves around. We flipped our consciousness, our subconscious around, and you can see the effects. People are doing things without thinking about the consequences way more often than ever before in the history of humanity. Like people are doing things and then snitching on themselves on the internet just for attention, and then it destroys their lives. But the attention keeps living on. Look at people like Take YNW Melody, like all these dudes that did these crazy things. Now their lives are destroyed, but the attention lives on. But what does it do for their reality? They're still behind bars. Their reality is still in shambles. Like, do you guys understand what I'm saying? We're increasingly observing our own lives through through the perspective of the audience. We're putting ourselves in the spectator's shoes and trying to spectate our own lives rather than focusing on directly experiencing for the human experience, right? This it's become part living and then part performance, right? You're living in reality, but then on the other hand, you're performing and projecting on the internet. And then over time, your performance begins to replace your authenticity as a person, as a human being. You begin to become just a clone, a duplicate of whatever you're seeing on the internet because these things are constantly entering your subconscious, and it's replacing how you see yourself, your perspective of your own reality. So, right now we're suffering from unprecedented connectivity. Like we're too connected. We're just too connected. And it's ironic because due to this overstimulation of connection, of connectivity, loneliness is on the ride. More people want to be lonely than ever before. More people want to just be left alone than ever before. Right? Relationships don't last, whether it's romantic, friendships, whatever. It's really hard to sustain relationships now because you're not just competing with the reality of the relationship, you're also competing with the projection of the relationship and also the projection of everyone else's relationships. Like it's an impossible uphill battle for us, right? The point of this isn't to argue whether or not technology is good or bad or like evil or what I mean. Technology and social media is not inherently evil. It's just something we created, right? How we use it can be evil sometimes. How we use it can be positive or good. It depends on us, on the human, on the experience that we want to create, what we want to project, right? And again, this advancement is it's as transformative for humanity as language, writing, printing. Like the internet has completely changed society globally, like around the entire world. The internet has changed society. Social media has changed society. Now, the question is, do we fully understand what is happening, right? And what has happened? Human beings, we once existed in just two realities. That was it. And then just recently, we created a whole new third reality that we vastly occupy. And it's this giant digital landscape where thoughts are constant, attention is currency, and your identity is a product, right? And this reality is powerful. It can educate, it can connect us, it can inspire, it can help us create. But on the contrary, it can also consume all of our attention. It can also distort perception, make us distant to reality, and pull us away from direct experiences. And I think the challenge for modern age of humans, it's not like learning how to use technology, it's more of understanding how to balance our existence alongside the existence of this new reality we've created. Because at the end of the day, there's no amount of followers that you can receive that will replace the real friends that you have in your life, right? There's no amount of content that can replace real experience, you know? It's the experience is like no other, you know? So the digital reality, no matter how immersive it can get, it can never fully replace the world that exists when we open our eyes, right? When we take a deep breath, right? When we eat food, when we touch or speak to another human being, the digital reality will never replace that. You have to remain grounded in presence and find some type of balance. The good thing about animals and plants, for example, is that they don't actively participate in this third reality we created, even though it exists. They don't actively participate. Now, be it, they don't have the capacity to participate, but at the end of the day, they're still not participating. Just imagine with the way humanity treats animals, the way we consume, kill animals all over the world. Just imagine, for example, a group of elephants watching a YouTube video of poachers killing another group of elephants and cutting all their tusks off and stuff. And the elephants understand what's happening in the video the same way that we understand what happens in social media videos. What do you think would happen? The nearest human civilization would get fucking trampled. It would be like a war between humans and elephants. You know what I mean? Thank God animals can't fucking understand what's going on social media and stuff, because if they did, we would be fucked. We would absolutely be fucked. Like, the truth is, if we don't change, nature is going to destroy us, as it's attempted to many times before throughout the existence of humanity. Every single day, nature is trying to give us examples of balance, and we choose not to acknowledge it, even though we actively observe it, right? You go out in nature, you can observe the peace that you can attain by having balance in your life just by simply observing nature, right? But us as humans, we always choose to go the other way. We always choose to distort, disturb, and interrupt natural processes just for the curiosity of it, just because we're humans. Like, it's crazy. The first step to understanding, is acknowledgement. You have to acknowledge the issue and the problems in your life, and then you can work to understand what is causing everything. And I hope this helps a lot of you understand what may be negatively impacting your reality and existence. And I'm not a psychologist, I'm just a regular person that is deeply reflective, and I'm always alone. So, because I'm always alone, I'm always just talking to myself in my head. I'm constantly asking myself questions about my own existence, and I'm always answering these questions through deep reflection. Like, I reflect on myself to answer the questions that I have about myself. And I look in the mirror every day and I judge myself more than any person ever could. I'm my harshest critic. And I evaluate my actions daily, and I actively try to correct negative tendencies, right? So I hope this wakes some of you guys up. Um, yeah, that's the end. Take care, and don't forget to share this to a friend if it resonates with you. And yeah, I might make more of these videos. I kind of like doing this. So there might be another video on the way. I don't know. But you guys take care. Have a good day.